the RUMERTIME process, and I came across this quote: behind every behavior is a belief.
Whatever setting you go to, whether you're at church, whether you're at school, whether you may be having
I was able to analyze a little bit more.
Bringing about real positive
in order
changes.
For me to be effective, I have to be reflective. And this training
I gather an appreciation for reflecting. And I
take it from just something that's inside to getting it in a tangible form, getting it out from
fulfilling and rewarding to see the kids who coming and they sincerely growth in them. They became more reflective in their thinking, to see children grow and not just see but to be a part of it.
What I have learned in camp about RUMERTIME is that it's a process for solving problems we face in our lives.
My stress, and then I begin to enjoy and spend time on the things that really make me happy.
I recommend this training to all age, from kindergarten.
before you do that thing that you'll regret, or say that thing.
If you breathe and think, you should have this training.
I would recommend this to everyone.
Well, hello, everyone. Welcome. You are in the right place. Just in case you were wondering where you are, what's happening? Yeah, look at this. Look at this array of black, beautiful, brilliant women. I am just so excited to be here this evening. We have an amazing conversation for you all. And we're going to get you engaged. All right. One of the questions we have, the main question we have, and I'm going to say it now and we'll say it again. What do you know about menopause? Okay. What do you know about menopause? And we would like you to write it in the chat, whether you're on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, wherever you are, write it. And we're going to have a vibrant discussion this evening. All right. So I'm Dr. Yvonne Marie Laria, one of the co-hosts of the Access RUMERTIME Conversations. And welcome. I'll let the rest of the team introduce themselves.
All right, I'll just go ahead, jump right in. I am Dr. Geneva Levy-Fleming, bringing you greetings from South Carolina, and I am thrilled to be a part of this conversation today because I know very little, believe it or not. So we'll get into it later on. Welcome, Dr. Kathy Purnell.
Yes.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Vanessa Kelly Brew. I am also one of your hosts, and I am bringing welcome to you from Elkhart, Indiana, the city with the heart. I'm so excited for this conversation this evening. So, Dr. G, I know a little bit about menopause, but I'm so excited to learn more about it. So,
awesome.
Hi. I am Felicia Purcell Charles, and I am with you here from the Spice Island, Grenada, the land of spices and beautiful people. I have to say, as it relates to menopause, it caught me off guard, but I've learned a lot, and I'm learning more because I'm in the menopause process right now. So I'm happy to join and for us to have a great show today.
Awesome. Welcome.
And I'm Laverne Shirley from North Dakota. In all honesty, until this conversation, I really was not even thinking perimenopause, menopause, postmenopause. So I'm very excited to hear stories of women in this forum who will be sharing their stories with us.
Okay. I want to introduce Dr. Kathy Purnell, and that's all I'm going to say about her. She will give you the rest of the information. Kathy, go ahead.
Sure. I'm Dr. Kathy Purnell, joining you from Chattanooga, Tennessee, originally from London, and I'm glad to be here to join the stage with remarkable women as yourselves, and I look forward to us sharing our experiences.
Awesome. All right, so let's get into our first 15-minute segment of education. You know, at GC Scored, we educate, equip, and empower individuals. And so as we move into our renewing of the mind and transforming lives, we're going to go to our next Geneva.
Yes, ma'am. Which is the next is our RUMERTIME prayer. And so I will lead us in prayer. If you see the card on the screen, you could read and pray along with us. It's Dear Heavenly Father, thank you for this day and for this Access RUMERTIME Conversations podcast. We thank you for allowing us to be chosen to be here because we are special and we matter to you. We pray that you will help us to recognize, understand, manage, express, and reflect on thoughts, interactions, mindsets, and emotions that are helpful, kind, wise, uplifting, and courageous. I pray that all who watch and listen now, as well as in the future, would experience renewed minds, transformed lives, and they would be empowered to create safer and more socially communities wherever they are. So in Jesus' name we pray, amen.
Amen.
And our mission, of course, here at GC Scored is exactly that, to renew minds, transform lives, and create safer and socially connected communities.
And how do we do that? We do that by presenting or providing social emotional wellness and health. It's a person's ability to recognize, understand, manage, express, and reflect on their thoughts, their interactions, their mindsets, and emotions as it relates to self, others, and situations. Effectively utilizing these competencies engages, educates, equips, and empowers individuals of all ages, stages, and locations to successfully navigate daily activities such as loving, learning, earning, relationship building, problem solving, and adapting to the demands of growth and development.
Awesome. Laverne?
Oh, the RUMERTIME process, as you can see in this beautiful diagram that we have here, is ongoing, and everything is always connected. So you're constantly reflecting on your time, and time stands for your thoughts, your interactions, your mindsets, and your emotions. You're constantly expressing those, saying your time. You're managing your time. Thoughts, interactions, mindsets, and understanding your time, you're recognizing your time, and you're just and this is a lifelong endeavor that you are involved with.
Awesome. All right. So at GC Scored, we have our way of defining mental health. Right? We have our mental health blueprint or manifesto. And so we see mental health from a social, from an ecological, cognitive, behavioral, and emotional perspective. We believe that to achieve triadic balance, we must intentionally and consciously integrate the roots, such as the relationship capacity building skills, which are the self-awareness, social awareness, those skills. We have to incorporate those, integrate those. And the conditions, resources at home, school, work, and the community for healthy growth and development to take place. We interpret many symptoms, behaviors, feelings, labels, and diagnoses as fruits, outgrowths, and manifestations of activities happening at and around the root level. At and around the root level. Okay, so coming in March, GC Squad is going to be launching its board certified life and relationship coaching course. We have the information on the website. We want you to go on there and learn more about it. We just did an information session, and another information session is going to be pre-recorded, and you're going to be able to watch it and learn, ask questions at your own leisure. At your own leisure. So again, GC Squad has now become a board certified life and relationship coaching program that provides training for individuals of all education backgrounds, from a bachelor's degree to PhD and MD and whatever D you got. Right? We are able to provide you with that credential that really helps to diversify your skill set. It also it adds another layer of marketability for you. It also helps to reduce and close the gap of people who are in need of support for their life decisions and their relationship challenges. I know you want to be a part of something as great as this. If you want more information, go to our website, www.everypeacematters.com. Go to mental health training, and you will get all the information you need regarding our board certified life and relationship coaching program. And we got lots of things happening here at GC Squad. In February and March, we're calling all mental health professionals. We know April 1st, you have to turn in at least 6 credits of ethics in order for you to get your license renewed. And we have made it so easy for you. GC Squad is your one-stop shop. Okay? We are offering 6 credits. You can get go to the next slide for me, please. Yes, you can get 6 credits. The first 3 credits you're going to get in February, on February 29th. And on March 21st, you get the second part. It is live online on Zoom. It is $75 per session. The time is 1 p.m. to 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Again, if you need, and we know that you do need, your annual ethics continuing education units, join GC Squad for the culturally conscious ethics workshops. The link is attached here, and Sean at some point can put up the QR code so individuals can go. But you can also go to www.everypeacematters.com. Don't forget, you need to get your hours. I had to drive one year. I had to drive about 5 hours in the winter to the depths of Detroit to Michigan to get my hours so that I can renew my license. Don't let that happen to you. We have it right here from the comfort of your house or your office or your bed, whatever. We are offering NBCC CEUs and NASW CEUs. All right. So thank you. We have a lot of activity in the chat from our online viewers. So let's get into this. Anna, welcome. Dawn, welcome. Rosemary, Roxanne, Sharon, Loislin, welcome to all. Welcome to all. All right. So the question that I posed earlier was, what do you know about menopause? So those of you in the chat, those our listening audience, our viewing audience, write in the chat, what do you know about menopause? All right. That's one question. We're going to have many questions for you. So let's get into our videos that will help us catapult this conversation. All right.
In 2023, 85% of women are complaining of menopausal symptoms. 10.5% are receiving treatment or therapy. I mean, it would be as if your testicles shriveled up and died at 51. That's the equivalent.
Let's get started.
Dr. Mary Claire Haver.
All right. So that's Dr. Mary Claire Haver talking about menopause, that 80% of women have symptoms, menopausal symptoms, and only 10% of them are receiving any type of therapy for it or treatment for it. All right, let's get to the next. You're going to hear some more about Dr. Marie Claire Haver's program that she has. She has what is called the Ultimate Menopause Toolkit. All right, let's go.
Is that we have had this conversation amongst ourselves, a lot of which started even a couple of years ago. I am an OBGYN who has treated menopausal women for over 30 years. And the one thing that I have found out is that even though the experience of menopause is universal, there are some things that are particular to communities of color, and particularly Black women. Now, as I got deeper into this, the study and the treatment of menopause, I found that there are things that do differ. We find that menopause affects Black women slightly differently. They go into menopause about a year earlier than white women. Their symptoms tend to be more severe and they last for longer. Now, we also know that there are certain cultural barriers, there are certain educational barriers about how we access care when we are experiencing the symptoms of menopause. And it matters what we know going into this experience and what do your doctors know in terms of treating and how to interact with patients of color. So I think that the first place to start is really with storytelling, because I would be very interested in having all of you know what has the experience been. We have Rachel Hughes and Camille Wilson who are here and in various stages of their menopausal journey. And for those of you who don't really, who may not know, and you may not have heard all of our talks before, perimenopause or the menopausal transition can start as early as about 10 years before women have had their last menstrual period. And menopause, as we define it, which is when you've had your last period confirmed after 12 months of no periods, and you are menopausal for the rest of your life. And that has very different implications, not just in the transition, but what happens in thereafter.
All right. And we will put the links to these, videos in the chat so you can see it. It's going to come across the screen. Those were experts in menopause or in OBGYNs. The two OBGYNs on that video that we just shared with you. On this call, these 6 women here, myself included, we are experts about who we are and our stories, okay? So we are not OBGYNs. We are Yvonne's, Kathy's, Geneva's, Vanessa's, Laverne's. We are experts in who we are and our experiences. And what we're going to do this evening is share our experiences. And that's why we want you also to share in this conversation. Our main goal this evening is to bring to the forefront the stories or the narratives of our menopausal journeys, whether it's perimenopause, menopause, or postmenopause. We want to bring it from out of the darkness out of the shadows. We want to begin the conversation to help remove the stigma. We want to help bring awareness so that individuals will not have to suffer in silence and in silos. Okay, you hear me clearly? In silence and in silos. And so I'm going to begin. I'm going to begin my story. I'm going to begin sharing. So around 2012, I was going about my life, living my life, just, how we say, life be lifing. It was just lifing, right? And so I was doing that, working, just doing life. And all of a sudden, and I can't remember the exact date, but I started having palpitations. And how it started was I would find myself coughing, right? And then the palpitations, I was like, what is this? I would cough, it would make me cough, right? When my heart would flutter. My heart would flutter and it will force me to cough. And I was like, what is this? And I had allergies. And so I thought maybe it's allergies. And so I would maybe take a Zyrtec and it will kind of calm down. But then it progressively got worse. And it started happening more at night. And usually about midnight and onwards. It got so bad, these palpitations and the coughing, I couldn't sleep. My husband and I made multiple trips. When I tell you multiple trips to urgent care or the emergency room, it was one of the most scary experiences I've ever had. Now, I am going through this. We are going through this because he can't sleep. He's looking over me to see if I'm breathing, if I stop breathing. So he's not getting sleep. I'm not getting sleep. We having to get up in the middle of the night, go to urgent care, and on repeat, they will do EKGs and all the different, run a bunch of tests. And my heartbeat was fine. It was strong. There were no physical or structural issues with my heart. Nothing. They could find nothing. And so we were like, well, what is this? So we went to my primary care physician and she ordered several tests. One which, she did a consult for cardiology because this cannot keep going on. Again, losing sleep, my husband not sleeping, the anxiety. When I tell you anxiety, when anything is happening with your heart, because our heart is a life-giving organ, I don't have words to describe the fear that had gripped my house. We don't know where it was going to end, if it was going to end. Am I dying? Am I having a heart attack? What is happening? So we got the consult with the cardiologist. Still can't find out. Nobody can tell me anything. None of my doctors. Ended up wearing a Holter monitor, which is a monitor for your heart, for 30 days so that they could monitor my heartbeat, the heart rate, and all the different whatever else happens with that. And I had to do a presentation in Boston in 2013. So remember this, I can remember this started in 2012. I am now in 2013, still don't know what is happening with me. Went to a conference traveling. That itself was scary because I had the Holter monitor. I had to travel with it, right? And here I am traveling by myself on a plane. Obviously, this is before COVID, and what is going to happen? Is this going to be my last trip? Is it? Am I going to make it? Anyway, I made it. Clearly, I'm here today. So I did my presentation. I had the palpitations while I was there, and one of the things I would do that seemed to help, but I don't know if it did. I would take Zyrtec for my allergies, but Zyrtec makes me sleepy. So I don't know if it's because the Zyrtec made me sleep and I wasn't aware of the palpitations, or if the Zyrtec itself actually abated the palpitations. So I'm going to move along. So this is 2013. I think even 20, coming on to the end of 2013, 2014 maybe is when I noticed I was like, this is just out of control. Well, I was reading an Oprah magazine, one of Oprah magazines, and in there, Oprah was sharing her story about perimenopause and menopause and how she had these palpitations. Listen, I just want, I'm not being dramatic, but I'm telling you, I took that magazine and I flung it. I started doing some dance and screaming because I was like, oh my gosh, this is what is happening to me. I am not dying. This is heavy menopause. Oh my gosh. Still this day. So I am the one, she referenced the Dr. Christine and Northrop, I think is the name, who is an OBGYN as well. She wrote a book. And I bought the book and I'm reading the book and I'm like, oh my goodness, nobody could tell me this is what was going on with me. After thousands and thousands of dollars spent, trips to the emergency room, sleepless nights, my mental health was being,
challenged.
Challenged, to say the least. Nobody could help me. The doctors had no idea. They couldn't tell me what was going on. I had to read it in Oprah magazine to find out what was wrong with me. What was going on with me. And that was when I became aware of what was happening. So I was like 2 years into symptoms. 2 years into symptoms. And that is around the time also when when I started having alopecia. And that's one of the symptoms of menopause. So there's so many things in this story, but I want the rest of the team to talk about Kathy, Dr. Purnell. Share your story.
Yes. I think I remember you and I have spoken about this for years, right? Not really knowing what's going on until, for me, it was, my husband, and I have an amazing doctor, male as well, and a good friend who said, why don't you get your estrogen levels checked? And I'm like, why on earth would I need to do that? My knees are hurting, or my back is hurting, or my hair was falling out, or I'm gaining weight, or I'm not sleeping. But they were wise enough, and I heard them. But for me, it was the weight gain. It was the mood shifts. It was the hair falling out. It was being up all night. Watching the moon come up, and then watching the daytime arrive, and then you're getting into work mode, sleep, working on very little sleep. And this whole menopause thing is impacting us in the workplace as well, and we don't even understand. And I hear, watching the video you sent, Dr. Mary spoke about how a lack of estrogen will create so many problems in the body, from the muscles to the bones to the emotional well-being to relationships. And I think, you know, and we laugh, Yvonne and I laugh at, we've got the doctorate, we've got the masters, we can do trainings, we can do some amazing things. I can create courses, I can take pictures, I can make you laugh, but I couldn't tell you about menopause even though I was dealing with it. You know?
Yeah.
And while you were talking, I was writing. I wrote this thing here. It's not finished yet, but it says, when you ask, what did you know about menopause? I wrote, it's that silent friend that never tells you they're on the way. They never tell you how their presence will impact you. They will never tell you how long they're going to stay. They keep you and others guessing about your own thoughts, behaviors, emotions, and actions in your personal and professional environments. That's as far as I got. But that's been my experience. I'm like, who on earth is you and where have you come from? And how long are you thinking you're going to stay here? So what I've had to do is learn to adjust to what I don't understand. I'm never afraid to look stupid. I'm never afraid to ask the questions because, you know, okay, so I sleep with the heat on, the window open, the fan on, the big thick blanket. It's on me 1 minute, it's off me the next minute. And my poor husband, you know?
Yeah.
Poor husband in that regard. So for me, I was at peace just admitting I know nothing about this friend that's with me from now till death do us part. So I have to learn how to live with it. And I thank God I've got a sense of humor, but I also surrounded me with good people who know a lot more than I do about this season that I'm in. Because really it's a season that I am no expert, but I'm in it for the ride and the journey. So my story is I'm still learning. I'm still understanding why all of a sudden my knees start hurting. I'm thinking of my Bajan mother who said, "Oh, my knees hurting me, man." I'm like, what the hell are you doing? You weren't doing anything.
Yeah.
You could just be minding your own business and suddenly your knees hurt. Suddenly the cholesterol is, like she mentioned, is out of control. Your sugar is out of control. You're like, I feel like a mad woman, but I'm too embarrassed to admit that I feel like a mad woman. That's what was happening to me. And I think that when we don't ask the questions, when we don't take the time to just keep it real with ourselves, people will see our behaviors and judge us based on that. But they understand the season that we're in. So we have to make it our duty to do exactly what we're doing today. And I want to say this too. This whole menopause, perimenopause thing got my attention. I'm currently in a UX design boot camp. And that's what I'm focusing on, is how can I help people understand what they don't understand. And I want to just say this before I turn over to somebody else. There are two people on Facebook, Dr. Lakeisha, and I forgot her last name, but she has something called Hormone Hotties. If someone can look for that and drop it in there. She's humorous, she's factual, she's OBGYN. Dr. Lakeisha, and it's called Hormone Hotties, but I can't remember her last name because, you know, with the brain fog that comes.
Hello.
You know, you could be standing there talking and suddenly, I don't remember what I'm saying, but her name is Lakeisha, Dr. Lakeisha, Hormone Hotties. There's a second person who's helped me for years, Dr. Krista Cooper. Dr. Krista Cooper experienced this and other issues related to women's issues. Follow her, Dr. Krista Cooper. She has educated and continues to educate me on this journey. All right, but if I find them, I'll drop it in there. But those two names, Dr. Krista Cooper and Dr. Lakeisha, Hormone Hotties.
Okay.
Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you.
And they're two sisters as well.
Oh, good, good.
I have a question.
Yeah.
Dr. Purnell, I have a question for you. How long into your symptoms did you start looking on the internet to find out what was going on, or talking to other people about what was going on, or making connection with the medical community? How far into having these symptoms how long into having these symptoms did you wait before you started digging around for information?
I'm really embarrassed because, when I was having symptoms, I thought the symptom was the symptom, not that it was anything to do with menopause, right? So if my back or my leg or my knee or my hair was falling out, because it was, or I'm gaining weight just looking at a donut, and people are asking me how you get so fat. I'm like, I don't know. It just happened, But it wasn't until February it was actually, I was at work. It was in October of not last year, year before. My blood pressure shot up. It just shot up, and I was rushed to the ER from work. My blood pressure got so high that they were concerned. So they had to give me something to bring it down. And it was in that season where they did the blood work. And it was my doctor that said, I can see a trend here. Your estrogen we don't know where it is. So we need to figure out how we can help you. But it was creating other problems. As I said, it was a male physician who was able to really help me begin looking at and piecing things together. So it's only recently where I'm going, oh, is that what it was? And that's what it is, right? So I'm thankful, as I said, for Dr. Krista. She sent me books. She sent me links. She sends me nuggets. And Dr. Lakeisha and the Hormone Hotties, every day she's providing you with something. So for me, as I said, I had no clue what was happening to my body, mind, spirit, none of it, until I was able to understand what was happening or lacking in my blood, what showed up in my blood work. And even then, there was still some confusion. Well, you're in it. Oh, you are way past it. I'm like, you mean I went through menopause without one thing? My poor husband, children.
Yeah.
So, yeah. I've learned to just say, okay, if we're going to do this journey together, I'm in charge, not you. Okay. So it's one day at a time, and it's not always successful.
I'm so glad to hear both of you share these stories because, Dr. Larry, you've heard me say, well, I don't think I've gone through menopause. What I understood, my understanding of what it was is that it's a situation that will occur in the life of a woman. It would start at a particular time and end at a particular time. But I'm learning that it has such a wide range and can be associated. It's almost like an imposter kind of situation. So I'm happy to hear you share what you're sharing. As both of you were talking, I'm writing notes. I'm like, well, could it be that this chronic cough I've had, could it be that it's associated with, could it be that some of the other things, because I'm not, the things that's been happening with my physical body, I'm not associating it with menopause. I'm just thinking it's the thing, but it could be a relationship. So thanks. I just wanted to say thanks for hearing that, and I want to hear some more stories.
Yeah.
Kalisha, are you?
I'm here and I'm listening and I'm loving this because I'm living it. And I just love when people share their stories because I feel more comfortable with what's happening within me. It for me, I mean, Dr. Laria, you told me back in 2015. I remember when you were talking about your vertigo. I remember when all these things were happening to you. And no way, as much as when you found out that it was menopause, I'm still thinking maybe it's something else. It can't be menopause. It's just, no, that's not what it is. And it's almost like it kind of faded away. And then when I started to have symptoms and I was going to the doctor and trying to figure out, do I have cancer? Do I have an aneurysm? Why am I having headaches? Why am I having joint pain? Is this, the side effects of COVID? Like, everything was happening. And you kept saying to me,
It's
girl,
menopause.
it's menopause. And I'm like, no, it is not menopause. I am a young woman and I'm not in that situation right now. I got another 10 years to go. And you said, well, I don't want to, dampen your spirits here, but I'm telling you, go spend your money, but you're gonna come back with this diagnosis.
It's menopause.
Right? And again, some days I'm wavering because the symptoms are so severe that I'm like, can this really be menopause? And I'm feeling so terrible. Like I wake up in the morning with joint pains, with muscular aches and pains. I try watching TV, I try listening to podcasts. It's just podcast after podcast. As Dr. Purnell said, you see the moon come up, the moon go down, the sun come up, you're not sleeping, you're unable to function at work. And this is what's going on with me. Sometimes I just, like last week, I just had an unproductive week, and my body just feels totally off. I'm unable to complete sentences. I have to write things down because I have foggy memory. I'm having one of the symptoms that I'm experiencing year is having sensations in my body, tingling feeling in on the right side of my body, having headaches, weight gain. I mean, this is the heaviest I've been. This is the weight that I had when I was pregnant with my children full term. Right? So it's just a difficult place to be. But for me, sharing my story and sharing it boldly is what is helping me through this process. Not being ashamed of the fact that, yes, I'm a 40-something-year-old woman going through this and it's for real. Like, I mean, I have shared my story with persons that I didn't know. And, they say to me, oh my God, this happened to me too. Does this happen to you? And I mean, these are even younger people than me, and they were just so happy to hear the story to say, okay, I feel better about this situation. Right? So I just want us to continue having this conversation. And I hope that other people become open about it because it's affecting my marriage. It's affecting my relationship with my children because how I would normally parent is not how I've been parenting over the last 2 years. Where, I want to get more involved in parent teachers conferences and meetings and all of that. And I just can't. I don't have the bandwidth to do it anymore. I should say do it right now. It just takes a lot for me to interact sometimes.
Yeah, yeah. And you know what? I think, and I appreciate you saying that part because sometimes Yvonne will tell you, Doctor, I'm just very tearful. And sometimes you don't even know what you're crying for. You remember when they would say you're PMSing and you're crying for, I don't know, it's still like that.
It's still like that, yeah.
Or you're crying about something that you just really, the emotions are raw. And I think it's important to just be in touch with how you feel in that moment because as I said, it's something that we don't really understand. And apparently a lot of our doctors don't either. So, we're all trying to help each other out. I see somebody's put up the new menopause toolkit, which, is a help, but it's overwhelming when I'm constantly online. What do I look at? What are these? But Halle Berry is now talking about it. What's the other lady? Oprah. There's another woman.
Gail.
She did the vegan tasting of food and became popular.
Oh, right. I know. Tabitha Brown.
Yeah.
Tabitha Brown. Yeah.
Yeah.
2 weeks ago, she put out a video basically like, who on earth is this that's shown up in my life? And you know? So it really can be difficult. And I think that we need a little bit more grace in this season because we can be very unkind and we focus on the behaviors of people, you know, oh, she's mean. And really, that poor person has no clue fully what they're going through, possibly. So yeah, it's tough.
You know, but you know, Dr. Purnell, you know, as you mentioned that while we were speaking, you were writing about putting together a poem about this being your friend, right?
Yeah, she ain't my
And I'm
friend, but
listening.
yeah, go ahead.
And I'm listening to you because I'm like, this has to be a damn enemy. Like, what is this? I don't want you in my life. You have changed me. I don't like who I'm becoming, right? And I'm like, when you said friend, I'm like, friend.
Yeah.
But it's
Yeah.
almost like,
Yeah.
if you're going to be with me till the end, I
Mhm.
need to be able to probably develop a relationship with you because it seems like
There
you're
you
going to
go.
be around for a while.
There you go. That's why I said, you know what? If you're going to stick around, then I'm in charge, right? So this is where we now have to look for the tools. How are we going to navigate this? How are we going to survive this? Are we just going to drink it away, or are we, you know, I was running 5 miles 6 weeks ago. I can't run anymore right now because of sudden pains and stuff that I have surgery on. I'm thinking, well, do I just need to go and do something else before I go under the knife? Is this menopause or is this, you know, what is this?
Yeah.
So I really want those who have the knowledge to come out of the shadows and please help us out because we are in need. We
Yeah.
are in need. My poor children, my son is in medical school and I said to him, and I'll be quiet, I said to him, son, I know everybody wants to be cardiologist or a bone doctor or OBGYN. I said, but son, I really, really want you to think about the needs of women because we're struggling in this sphere right here. And he listened to me. Then he says, yeah, you're a lot nicer now. You've really changed. I felt bad, but I understood what he meant. And he said, I don't mean that to be mean. He said, but there were times, he said, you're from England already and you all are already direct. He said, but you've just softened in the last years. And I was offended, but he attributed that to perhaps it was hormonal, but perhaps I was just annoyed at them. I don't know. But
You know, I'm glad that you said, I'll be quick. I'm glad that you said that about your son, saying that, you know, you're probably nicer now, because I'm in the now where my kids are, you know, 11 and 13. And my 11-year-old said the other day, oh, it's not that I'm rude or there's a problem with my behavior. I think you're just having the issues that the doctor is speaking about. I think you're the problem now. You know?
Yes. Yes. But it is hard when you don't know, because I told Dr. Murray, I'm no expert. I cannot sit here as an expert, but I can tell my story. Okay. But it's been difficult because I didn't understand why I was in pain, why my hair was falling out, why, as I said, I gained weight just looking at that bit of cake, or why I want the cake, or why I was crying at something that was really didn't require tears, or why I couldn't finish tasks. It's not that I'm a lazy person. Sometimes, as you said, you just don't have the energy, the bandwidth to think, to do. You're not even sleeping. And one of the lady in the podcast mentioned, if you're not sleeping, your body's not restoring.
It's not. It's
You
not
know?
regenerating. It's not. Your cortisol is going all the way up. So here's the hormone hotline.
That's it. That's the one. That's the one. That's Dr. Lakeisha McMillan. That's the one I'm speaking about. And if we can find Dr. Krista Cooper, she doesn't have a site, but she is accessible on social media. Amazing person to speak to.
Yeah.
Well.
Awesome. Vanessa, what is your story?
So for me, one of the things I will say, and I share this because hopefully, like, this may resonate with some of the listening audience is that so I have been one, like I had always had um uh, my menstrual cycle was always like irregular. So from the time like when I started having a menstrual cycle, it had always been irregular. So I didn't necessarily know that I was going through perimenopause when I was going through it. Um, some of the now I will say that I am in full menopause, and that is because just trying to do some research and having conversations with Dr. Larrier and um, just talking about some of the symptoms that I have had and have been experiencing, I realize now that I am in full menopause. So for me, the symptoms that I have that are like the absolute worst for me are the hot flashes. And that is what I thought was menopause. So I thought that was like you when you start having hot flashes, then you know you're in menopause, right? So I had no idea that it was all of these other symptoms that, I could have been experiencing that also could have been part of like perimenopause and menopause. Like, so I think Kalisha, you had talked about like having foggy memories. So for me, like having foggy brain, like grasping sometimes for words, like simple words. And I'm like, oh, wait a minute, I know it starts with whatever the letter is. And then like really thinking about what is this word that I'm trying to say. So recently for me, again, it's been like my sleeping pattern has been off. I'll wake up at like 3 o'clock in the morning and I will feel like I have fully rested, and I cannot go back to sleep until like 5, 6, or 7 o'clock in the morning. And then my body is tired because my rest has been broken. And I know now that I only have like really now it's time for me to get up, but I am so tired at this point. And that has been a pattern for me. Kalisha, you said something about like tightening on your right side or tingling. That is something that I have recently started experiencing, like in my fingertips, and it's on my right side, and it's just like right in my fingertips, and so those for me have been the things that I have really been experiencing. But this is the thing that I will say is that somebody said, Lord, yes, yes. Weight gain, weight loss, hair loss,
Loss
loss
of
of
memory,
memory,
tired, and much.
and so
Yes.
much more. And so, Dr. Larry, you talked about like, being overheated and, like fainting and having these heart palpitations. Now, that is not something that I have experienced, but that is again
Yes.
what they saying
Yes.
is that, well, listen, I'm praying to God, but I don't get that.
Yeah.
This is the thing that I'm so excited about, like today, is that we are having this conversation because this is not a conversation that I think is openly discussed. We might have conversations like this maybe with a friend girl or someone, but we're not having these kinds of conversations like in public, even though it is impacting all of us. I think the Dr. Claire said it was like 80% of women have these menopausal symptoms, but 10% are receiving treatment.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember, like at my last physical, I spoke to my doctor about that, and I was telling her like the symptoms that I was having. What she said to me is, some women have told me about, now this was her, about black cohosh. Now, this is something that you can get in a, you can get in the store. She said, this is not something I can prescribe or recommend to you because it's not FDA approved, but I have had a lot of my patients tell me that they have had some, success with this. But that was it. That was it.
Yeah.
Yeah, someone wrote in the chat that our parents never told us about this. It's probably because our parents are where we are right now. We didn't know. They didn't know. And also in the place of physicians, many physicians don't know. They don't, and that's why we're getting misinformation or being robbed of something. Maybe not being robbed. But there is a question I wanted to get to that was in the chat. Bianca asked, and I believe this is after Dr. Purnell and even Kalisha, you were sharing some symptoms. And the question is, did these symptoms come before the period started getting affected?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it comes because it's in perimenopause, and perimenopause means your period is still coming, but it changes. And it may not come regularly. You may have a period twice a month. You may have a period for the whole month. Perimenopause is a disruptive time. If your period used to be light, and I'm talking from experience, I was having periods that was so heavy. I thought I mean, it would make me sick. I would throw up, and I never used to have periods like that. Never had periods like that. I would be changing every 30 minutes, sometimes 45 minutes. It was yes, it was before the period ended. It was while you were having a period. This is part of perimenopause. So yes, Bianca.
Losing that amount of blood in that short space of time cannot be healthy.
It's not.
It has adverse effects on other parts of the body.
Of your body. Exactly. I mean, literally, I'm not even exaggerating. Literally. And so in addition to the physical impact it was having, it also had psychological and social consequences, because you don't feel safe going anywhere. You understand? You're feeling sick. There was a time when avocado. Now, I love avocado. Every time I ate avocado, I will throw up. And it was always around my period. And so it was a direct hormonal relationship. The doctors don't, and the videos we watched, and you would hear this over and over, they are not trained in these issues in medical school.
Yes.
And one of the things they said,
because it's women, right? Women are underclass, and we are not, like Marie Claire said, if men experience 10% of what we experience, they would bring out the National Guard, they would bring out the full military, everything to help them deal with it.
Yeah.
So there were a couple things that I really wanted to add from that podcast, that the exam or that we shared was that Dr. Marie Claire said that for Black women, we tend to experience this.
That's Dr. Sharon Malone. Not
okay. Malone. Oh, okay. She said that Black women tend to experience menopause earlier.
At least 1 year earlier.
1 year
and the
earlier.
symptoms are more severe
Yeah.
and they last longer.
Mm-hmm.
And somebody in the chat, Dawn, wrote, like, she said, I started in my late 30s. And so we know that perimenopause can start like in your mid
30s.
30s.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah.
You know, somebody's just posted there. I know an 11-year-old who has horrible periods so bad she ends up in the hospital almost every month. Doctors don't know what's happening and how to treat it. Can you help or suggest? My daughter has done some research on that because she was having some challenges. And PCOS, is that it?
Yeah, PCOS. Uh-huh.
Ask them to explore. Look, do the blood work. I'm not a medical doctor, but my daughter is experiencing some of that. And she would pass out. I remember we were on a plane. They had to turn the plane around. We were taxiing. They had to stop, turn the plane around. We had to deplane because she passed out on the plane. And it tells me she was fine afterwards. We could have kept going. I'm like, girl, please. But I would explore that and talk to an OBG because I have a good friend who's an OBG who's also helped with that, as well as Dr. Krista Cooper, who can also help that person who's 11-year-old. Is dealing with
That's good. That's good. And I would definitely suggest yielding to the resources that Dr. Purnell just mentioned, because just on the regular, we need to understand that there's no one size fit all when it comes to the medical profession. Like every doctor doesn't have the same level of training. And so it's best to be connected with some who do.
Definitely.
So I too have a daughter who have experienced some of that. And, you know, the general medical gynecological community believes that they understand endometriosis, but they really don't. And that's another level of training that medical doctors really need, because your common OBGYN cannot thoroughly handle something like OB. And when I read Annette's comment about the 11-year-old, it just took me to my own daughter, who for years we have been dealing with this matter and still is. But now she's getting close to the menopausal, perimenopausal age. So it's going to be real interesting to.
You know, I want to say this as well. When I was bouncing around between, because you bounce around between doctors to try and figure out what's going on. I remember going to an OBG. She came in the room and she broke down. And she said, your story is my story. And my story is your story. And it's the story of countless women. I was floored that she felt in that moment, oh my goodness, I'm an OBGY. I'm delivering babies. I'm talking to women about stuff. But she realized in that moment, I'm human, and I have needs as well. She has had a good, supportive husband who was able to comfort and support her through everything as I have. But at the same time, it just made her feel free enough to just break down and begin to speak. So I'm thankful for this forum, because this is impacting our mental and emotional, spiritual well-being.
Yeah, it
we
is.
Can't just overlook it. I remember my mom used to say, go upstairs and get the ting on the ting by the ting by the ting. And they would get upset when you say, what are you talking about? The ting. So you go upstairs and you dig around and you hope you find the right thing, and you come down and you get in trouble because it's the wrong thing. But now you look back and you're thinking, oh, she was having a brain moment where she, right?
The brain,
She knew what she meant, but she couldn't find the words. So, and I think a lot of people are dealing with the emotional, psychological, spiritual deficits of trying to name the thing. Whatever the thing is, we can't name it because we don't understand how this unwelcome guest is impacting us on every single level that we can think about. So I hope this today generates tells people that it's okay to do exactly what we're doing.
Yeah, it's okay. It's okay to name it.
Yes.
Once you figure out what it is, it's okay to talk about the symptoms that you're experiencing, and understand that there is another perspective. It's not the symptom that you're experiencing is not the source. It's not the thing.
The root. That's right.
Yeah, it is a response to a bigger picture, which is, as far as we are talking about this evening, is part of that menopausal journey and transition. So there's a question. Annette said, Yvonne, she lives in Trinidad. Anyone there? I don't know anyone there in Trinidad who can help her, but we can figure out something. We can do some research, and I want you all to follow the first video, the first group. Let's talk menopause, because they have resources, and then you can also follow the pause life.com, the pause life, the THE life pause PAUSE life LIFE.com. So, and if you can put that up on the screen for people. So, Annette, thank you. Roxanne says she experiences low energy.
Yes, that's
yes.
me.
So, Geneva, so you do have menopausal symptoms.
I do. I didn't realize the range was so vast.
Fast, yeah.
And you know what? I just want to remind us, right? I forgot which person said it, but she said she used to focus on being thin. Now she focuses
on being strong.
On being strong.
That's
so
Marie.
yes,
yeah,
that's it. So get some, some resistance training in there. Some vitamin D. What else did she mention?
So I have it here. So
okay.
How to help you manage. This is a part of the toolkit. So if you go online, you can get this at thepauselife.com. And I'll just quickly go over the highlights. Managing your menopause. You want to pay attention to your nutrition. You want to pay attention to exercising. And as Dr. Purnell just pointed out again, focus on being strong, not being skinny. You know what? One of the things I started doing a long time ago, not a long time, during the COVID, when I realized that my belly was not going down. It just wasn't going. So I started reading Sanjay Gupta's book on the brain. And I realized, you know what I'm going to focus on? I am going to exercise to maintain my cognitive acumen. If the belly goes down, praise the Lord. If it doesn't, praise the Lord. I'm working on my cognitive ability right now. I need that. I need that to keep me going. And so, yes, so exercise, shift your focus from why you exercise, but don't make exercise be about losing weight or, being skinny.
The external, all of that external stuff.
Yeah, right. And then the next one is pharmacology. To find out about treatments that your healthcare provider can prescribe or recommend to reduce symptoms such as hot flashes, night sweats, bone loss, premature estrogen deficiency, etc., etc. Then stress reduction, right? She talks about how can you reduce your cortisol levels and the discomfort, mindfulness, meditation, breathing techniques. And I am going to put in here, get to learn about the RUMERTIME process. I know you guys were wondering, when am I going to bring it up? You know it's coming up. The RUMERTIME Guided Activity Journal is excellent. It's an excellent tool for you to use as you go through this journey, these transitional periods. It helps you with your story. You get to tell your story. Then you get to recognize what your thoughts, your interactions, minds, and emotions. If we do this, we might be able to recognize earlier what we are experiencing. Right? We get to recognize earlier, understand, manage and express and reflect on what it is we're experiencing. So nutrition, exercise, pharmacology, stress reduction. Go to the GC Squad website. Sean, if you can put up the RUMERTIME Guide Activity Journal there for me, that would be great. Your sleep quality. At least try to get between 7 to 8 hours a night. Try. I know it's hard. If you can't all at night, what some of the research says, catch a couple naps during the day. It helps. Then making sure that you are in community, making sure that you are in some type of community. Don't try to do this in silos or in isolation. This is not going to work. There's the RUMERTIME Guided Activity Journal. This can help you manage your menopause. All right. Were we able to recognize everybody's comments in the chat? Linda Welsh says, great program. And it asks Anna, oh, it's moving fast. Dawn says we need to start to mention this in our youth programs in church. Talk to our children. Yes. Anna says, thank you for sharing this information. I was not aware of these issues. My daughter Monique has been listening, but had to leave. Okay. All right. Anything else? Roxanne says, this is helping me a lot. I've been having a lot of back pain, weight gain, mood swings, etc. So Roxanne and Dawn, everyone, we're so grateful that you can spend this time with us, and we can help to bring some of this information to the forefront so that you don't have to think and believe that it's all in your head, because it's not. This is literally
happening. It's real.
It is real. Okay. And people, especially doctors, have been in the past like to tell you, oh, it's all in their head. And if you guys remember, Dr. Marie Claire Hover said, WW, when she was in med school, they talked about the WW. What is the WW? Whiny women.
Woman.
And so we have to change the narrative. We have to change the narrative by telling our narrative. Yeah, by telling our narratives. Bianca, thank you for showing up. Jambalasi, thank you for showing up. Rosemary, thank you.
Anna Johnson.
Anna, Sharon.
Carolina, thank you, Anna, for showing up.
Yeah, Sharon.
Always here.
Yeah. Thank you all. Loislin, thank you. And you all have an amazing rest of the week, beginning of the week. We're going to see you again. We look forward to seeing you on
Second Sunday,
and I had it written down because I was like, okay, I'm going to be prepared.
That would be the 11th.
The 11th, yes.
February.
The 11th of February, where we're going to be talking with Dr. Sean Smith. Dr. Sean Smith. We look forward to seeing you. And we want to thank Dr. Kathy Purnell, Kalisha Purcell Charles, Vanessa Kelly Brew, Dr. Geneva Fleming, Laverne Shaw Bailey, and all of you for showing up. And please share this video even after the show. You can help save someone's life, not just a woman, but her family. You can help save her job. You can help save her physical health. You can help save communities. Save her mind, yes.
Yeah, her mental health.
Mental health, absolutely, absolutely. So have a great evening. We've gone over time, but it was worth it. It was necessary. And so take it easy, everyone. goodbye, and we'll see you Sunday, February 11th at 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Blessings.
I choose to only think of thoughts. I choose to only think right thoughts. I choose to only think right thoughts. RUMERTIME reflects. When my mind is upset, I can change my mindset. Do not be thrown offset. RUMERTIME.
The RUMERTIME process, and I came across this quote: behind every behavior is a belief.
Whatever setting you go to, whether you're at church, whether you're at school, whether you may be having
I was
an issue
able
at home.
to analyze a little bit more.
Bringing about real positive
In order for me
changes.
to be effective, I have to be reflective. And this training
I gather an appreciation for reflecting. And I
Take it from just something that's inside to getting it in a tangible form, getting it out from.
Fulfilling and rewarding to see the kids who coming and they see growth in them. They became more reflective in their thinking, to see children grow and not just see but to be a part of it.
What I have learned in camp about RUMERTIME is that it's a process for solving problems we face in our
reduces a lot
lives.
of my stress, and then I begin to enjoy and spend time on the things that really make me happy. And
recommend this training to all age, from kindergarten.
Before you do that thing that you'll regret, or say that thing.
If you breathe and think, you should have this training. I would recommend this to everyone.